Hi, welcome back to Books and Stuff. I'm Danielle,
And I'm Zach.
and today we have a special guest. We have Gabby from Gabby Reads, and we'll let her tell you a little bit about her channel and where you can find her on Bookstagram and everywhere else. Go ahead.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, my name is Gabby. I have a booktube channel called Gabby Reads where I just kind of make, bookish videos like reading vlogs and book recommendations and things of that nature. And then I am on Instagram. My Instagram is at underscore my fictional world, and I post bookish stuff over there too. So you can find me on either platform.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm super happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. So I guess the easiest question to get going is how did you get your start into the whole booktube world or community? Like, did you start first on Bookstagram or did you start first on YouTube?
So I actually started on Bookstagram first. I started my Bookstagram account in like the summer of 2014, and I mainly just started it because at that time I was really obsessed with like taking photos of all the books that I was reading, and I just kind of wanted a place to like post those. So that was pretty much the original reason why I started the Bookstagram. But then I started my BookTube channel in February of 2015, so like a few months after the Bookstagram, and I mainly started my BookTube channel just because I really wanted a place to like talk about books on the internet, because there weren't a lot of people in my, real life that read books. So I just didn't really have anybody to like gush over books with and fangirl. So I just decided to make a YouTube channel so that I could actually talk about all the books that I read. And at that point, I was starting to read a lot more books than I had before. So I kind of wanted also to like keep track of all the books that I was reading too, and have a place to like look back on all the books that I was reading at that time. So
Right.
yeah, that's pretty much why I
Yeah.
started it.
We don't have a lot of people in our life who read books either, so that was kind of one of the main driving forces behind
Yeah.
starting his channel. And then both of us have a bookstore too. And have you noticed that like book covers have gotten so
Yeah.
much better too? Because you said you started back in 2014.
Yeah.
Like book covers are like almost like works of art now.
Yeah.
They're so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I agree. I know it's almost like a whole different thing with Bookstagram now.
yeah, I know. So what would you say are your favorite videos to film, and maybe what's been like your favorite video you've ever posted on your channel?
I think my favorite videos to film are probably just my reading vlogs, just because they're so like I not that they're like effortless, but I feel like I have to put a lot less effort into them just because they're like vlog styles. So it's kind of like I can just set up the camera and just start talking and like, talking about what I'm currently reading, and like it's just really fun for me to film the reading vlogs. But I don't know, it's hard to pick like a favorite of all time, but I think some of my favorite videos that I've ever done have been when I like read my subscribers' favorite books. I've done videos before that are like reading your horror recommendations or reading your thriller recommendations or stuff like that, and those usually end up being my favorite because even though like I don't always enjoy the books, I love reading like books that people think I would enjoy or books that people recommend to me, just because I love seeing what people think I might like, and I do usually always end up finding at least like one favorite from doing those videos. So I just think they're so much fun. And so
Yeah.
those are probably some of my favorite videos that I've ever done.
Do you like always get people's book recommendations like in your comment sections too? Because I read the comments a lot on his videos.
Usually,
And
yeah.
everyone is just commenting books, and a lot of them we like haven't heard of before. So
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool too to get recommendations that way, because
yeah,
like the comment section is usually full of people just recommending me books all the time. But I like to like usually before I do a video like that, I'll do like a post on Instagram, like in my stories with the ask box, and I'll just say like, hey, if you have any horror recommendations, let me know, and then I'll get so many that way, and I'll just like tally up which books get the most recommendations and just do a whole video with like the top four or something, and that's really fun for me.
those videos are probably my
Yeah.
favorite to watch of yours too. Your reading vlogs in general, because
Oh, good.
I like that you set a theme to a lot of them too, and then find a bunch of books, that go with the
Yeah.
theme. And then I always really like the thriller reading vlogs though, because we both would say, well, my favorite genre is thriller. Yours might be horror.
Yeah, mine's more on the horror side, but thrillers have been mainly because of recommendations from her. I've kind of picked up on a lot of thrillers and stuff like that. So I would say it's more horror.
Yeah.
Thriller is
Nice.
probably a solid second.
Would you? I know that you've always said that thriller is your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still say that's true?
I don't know. Like, I would definitely be between thriller and horror these days. It just kind of depends on like the mood, but those are probably my top two for sure recently
Well,
too.
a lot of the questions we have are about thrillers, so good thing you still like thrillers.
Oh, that's totally fine. I love thrillers.
So, what would you say is your favorite thriller, or, and some of your top favorite thrillers of all time?
Oh my gosh. This is like the hardest question, but I feel like I always have to say Gone Girl is like one of my top for sure because I feel like that's the book that really got me into reading in the first place. Like I read this one back in like early 2014, and that's the book that really got me into thrillers in the first place. So I feel like I always have to credit Gone Girl. But I also really love like Lock Every Door and like The Silent Patient are two other ones that like immediately come to mind that I really enjoyed. Most of Riley Sager's stuff is stuff that I enjoy. I mean, his most recent is,
He really liked
but everything else I really Oh, okay. Yeah. It's like I feel like mixed about it.
Yeah. The ending
Yeah.
did not work for me, but he was like all for it. I was like, no,
Yeah.
it's not happening. um, so
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I feel like with that one I can see why people love it and I can see why people hate it and I'm just kind of somewhere in the middle. Like I feel okay about it.
I'm actually reading Gone Girl right now for the first time. Neither of us have read it, but it's probably in both
Oh my
of our,
gosh.
like, I know, both of our like top 5 favorite movies of all time, which was we'll get to that.
Oh,
Your
yes.
episode from today. But I've always been so nervous
Yeah.
to read it because I love the movie so much that I don't want to like read the book and suddenly like not like the movie, or like
Yeah.
I always wanted to like make sure that it was really close to the movie or something because obviously the book came first. But
Yeah.
I'm probably, I don't know, like a third of the way through, and it follows up pretty well. The movie did. From
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the most accurate like book to movie adaptations that I've ever seen. Like I feel like they really stuck to the book with this one and I feel like that's why I really liked that movie adaptation.
That'll
I
be
feel
a
like they
fun
nailed
there
it.
too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I am enjoying it so much. And yeah, that movie is just like incredible.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my top ones that I need to get to. So as soon as she's done with it, I'll probably be reading that next.
Well, yeah, because we have the Audible audiobook for it, but like I need to finish it before he can get to it, and we've been following along with the book too.
Yeah.
So yeah. So who would you consider some of your favorite thriller authors? Obviously Riley Sager, we know, is one of them.
Yes, Riley Sager would probably be my like favorite go-to just because he's like the only one that I will like as soon as his book's published, I will like immediately want to read them.
Yeah.
But some others, well, I love Lisa Jewell for the most part. Like not all of her books are winners for me, but for the most part, I do really like Lisa Jewell. Same with John Mars. John Mars is one of my favorite thriller authors. He tends to write some like more like sci-fi thriller kind of feel or like futuristic kind of thrillers. But for the most part, I do enjoy all of his thrillers. I feel like it's so hard because with every author, there's usually one book that I don't like. So it's hard to say like they're my favorite and like every book's amazing. But for the most part, yeah, John Mars. I really do like Karen Slaughter too, even though her books can be a little darker than you might think at times. But I really do like her writing style too.
You read, what was the one Lisa Jewell book you read and you hated it?
Wasn't it the
Family
Family Upstairs? I think it was The Family Upstairs.
Oh yeah, see that's my least favorite from her.
And you
I can tell why.
I didn't like it either.
You read a John Mars too. Which one?
Yeah.
Which one did you read?
Wasn't that The Passengers?
Oh yeah.
That one was actually pretty good. I enjoyed that one.
That's one I want to read because I hear really good things about it, and we both like the locked room trope. And isn't that one of them?
It's a bunch of people
Yeah.
in cars that are self-aware and stuff like that, or like
Yeah.
controlled or whatever.
Okay, so sticking
Yeah.
with thrillers, are there any like hidden gem thrillers that you have that no one talks about? And we'll share ours too because we both brought up one. So you can go first, or do you want us to?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys can go first and I'll think for a second.
Okay, I actually brought it here. Not that people will see the video of this, but mine is The New Husband by DJ Palmer. I've never read anything else by this author, but I know he has a new one coming out soon. I think it's called The Wife is Missing or Goes Missing or something like that. But no, I've never heard anyone talk about this, and I watch a lot of BookTube, and yeah, this one was just really good. If you're interested in one that no one talks about, that would be mine. You want to say yours?
The one I have is Here and Gone by Halen Beck. I read this.
Oh, okay.
I think I read it with. It was a video. I think I was reading thrillers. I think it was with twists, or it's just thrillers. And then for some reason I threw in Joyland. I think just because I didn't read Joyland yet. And this book I thought was actually pretty good. And I had never heard of anything by this guy, and I was not really disappointed with it. I think the story was solid, and I thought it was, I don't know, what do I want to say? It's, it kind of irks you with, the police guy, but I mean, that's all I'm going to say about it, because I can't say much more. It's a thriller book.
Was it in the point of view of the police officer?
No, it's in the point of view of a mom, and her kids she gets pulled over, and her two kids get abducted by the police, and apparently they're like getting paid by someone to do something, and then she like goes back to the station, and they're like, there were no kids in your car. We don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, what? Really? And so it takes a dark
That's
turn.
wild.
But again, it's a thriller book. I can't spoil too much of it. That's one of the biggest problems I run into when I recommend thriller books is like I can't say too much because it ruins it, but I like need to give it work, like
you want to pitch the book, but yeah, there's so many that are just like too wordy, but yeah, they're hard to talk about because like anything could end up being a spoiler. So did you think of
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think there's one book, The Nesting by C.J. Cook, that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and whenever I do see people talking about it, it's usually like negative reviews. Like I feel like nobody really enjoys that book for some reason. But I really love that one. It kind of like gave me similar vibes to like The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. It just kind of has this like kind of gothic feel to it. I think it is actually described as like a gothic thriller, but it's just about this woman who takes this nannying position, and she's watching these two kids, and then it kind of has a similar vibe to The Turn of the Key, where it's like the house may or may not be haunted, and there's just this like creepy atmosphere in this book, and I just really enjoyed that one, and I never see anybody talk about it.
I remember seeing it in one of your videos. Is that one that you read?
What the one she just talked? Which one was it again?
The Nesting by C.J. Cook.
The Nesting.
I don't know.
I think it has a red spine, right?
Yes.
You know?
I'm drawing a blank.
So if you did, it wasn't memorable.
I might have read it, but I don't. I definitely remember The Turn of the Key, though. That one was really good.
By Ruth Ware?
By Ruth Ware. Well, she just mentioned it. That's why I brought it up.
Oh, I didn't hear her mention it. Yeah, that book was amazing. And I read that because of your recommendation. So.
Yes, that one's so good.
I mean, we had 2 videos literally dedicated to like books you recommended, so.
That's true.
I know, that was so exciting.
So what's a thriller you've had on your list for a long time and you just like know that you need to get to it but you haven't yet, or one that you're intimidated by? Or because for us that
oh my gosh, there's so many. Yeah. Well, there's a few, like I know The Butterfly Garden has been recommended to me forever, and that's one that I've owned it for a while now, and I know I have to get to it, but I haven't read it yet. And same with like I have an old John Mars pick, The Good Samaritan, that I haven't read yet, that everybody tells me that I'll probably love it, but I still haven't read it yet. There's a few, but those are up there for books that I want to get to soon.
Yeah. We've had The Butterfly Garden for a while too, and it's like so short that like why haven't we gotten to it yet? But like it's just like there's always books that are more exciting to read, or I don't know.
Isn't that the second book in that one? What's the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know. You haven't given me much.
No, it's not The Family Upstairs. It's another one that's like, maybe it is The Family Upstairs. Wasn't there a sequel to The Family Upstairs that like came out recently?
I think so, yeah.
I'm like drawing a blank. I thought there was something apartment. Not obviously not the Paris apartment, but like there was another book, something apartment or something like that, and
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I might be imagining a book. I'm drawing a huge blank here, but I thought there was a book that was a sequel that a lot of people were talking about, and I had read the first book and I thought it sucked, but I like can't remember what it is. But for some reason, I'm thinking The Family Upstairs. Like I thought there was some kind of sequel with it.
It might be that one.
The sequel. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone talk about it though.
Oh, well then it's definitely not this Butterfly Garden.
No.
Never mind.
That one's by Dot Hudson, I think, and
I'll be over here if you need me.
yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit to your new podcast. And first question, what made you decide to start a podcast with Rachel? Has this been something that's been in the works for a while, or how did the journey begin?
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like this has been like a long time coming for us because we have been movie lovers for quite some time now, like almost like 10 years. We've really gotten into films over the last 10 years, and we've just always kind of talked about wanting to do something, or like I've always wanted to incorporate movies and TV shows and like talking about them more into my YouTube channel, but I never felt like it would, I don't know, like those videos would never do well because like once I established my channel as a book channel, like, you know, people come to see the book content and they don't really care to see like the movie or TV show stuff for some reason. So I'm like, okay, like I was trying to think of different ways of like how I could include that. And so we eventually just decided on a podcast, and we were just like, okay, like maybe we can just do a podcast. So we, you know, started coming up with ideas earlier this year, and then we eventually just decided to go for it because we were thinking about it for a while, and we were like, I don't know, but we just decided to go for it because we were like, you know, a podcast, it seems like it would be a fun thing to do, and it's kind of fun to, you know, because as a YouTuber for so many years, it's kind of fun to like explore a different kind of creative platform like podcasting, because it is different, but it feels like, I don't know, it's a different environment, but it's really fun to have both, I guess, you know, to have like YouTube and podcasting now. And it just felt like the right thing to do. So it's fun.
Yeah, that was one of the, I guess that we'll transition to this question quick that someone asked. Did you ever consider making a book talk or like a book podcast or anything like that?
Yeah, we we never talked about it for like a movie related kind of TikTok thing, but I definitely for sure thought of starting like a book related TikTok. I just, for some reason, like TikTok is just so different from the other platforms for me, and I just can't seem to like stay on top of the TikTok trends, or like, you know, I don't know. I'm not on TikTok as often as like a lot of people are, I think. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's hard because I made a book TikTok, and it's hard to like know what sounds are trending at what time, because I feel like a sound will go like, will be popular for like a minute and then it'll go away so fast, and you like dried then, and I feel like I can't come up with like topics or like ideas like quick enough to work with a sound. So I'm like, all right, well, I haven't posted on there in forever because it's so hard. Was a book podcast ever something you considered, or was it always going to be a movie podcast with Rachel?
Yeah, I never really considered doing a book podcast just because I was like, okay, I have my YouTube channel that's dedicated to books, and I felt like I didn't want to be talking about books on just a different platform, because I was like, this is what my YouTube channel is for. And then also because if I did a bookish podcast, I felt like I would probably just do it on my own, because, you know, I still don't really have a ton of people in my real life who read as often as I do. So it's like, I wanted to have somebody to do the podcast with, because I do feel like podcasts work better when there's two people, because then there's a conversation happening, you know, as opposed to just like speaking into the void by myself or something. But
it's hard to do it
so I knew if Rachel was going to be doing a podcast with me, yeah, exactly. And like usually when I listen to podcasts where it's just like one person talking, it's usually never as fun, you know, as when there's like two people. So, you know, I always figured if I ever did a podcast with my sister, it would have to be like movie related, because that's a passion that we both share. So yeah.
I would be way more nervous if I was doing it by myself because whenever we record, like obviously you have someone else to like bounce ideas off of, and it's just more, it's way more,
Yeah.
you see the person you're having a conversation with, so it's just way easier.
Mm-hmm.
We thought
Yeah.
about, there's some weeks that, he's busy with work or I'm busy with work, and so like maybe it would have to be like a solo episode, but like that, I'm like, that would be so hard to do after doing it for so long with
Yeah.
two of us. So
Mm-hmm.
another question that someone had was, how is your Patreon going? And do you have any bigger plans for it?
Yeah, it's going really well. I was kind of surprised at how like loving and like nice the community is over on Patreon. Like, I mean, I'm not surprised, but in a way, like I am really surprised at just how like overwhelmingly supportive the people are on my Patreon, and it's just been so much fun. Like, I love doing reading sprints over there. I love doing movie nights and just like all these things that I never thought that I had time for, or just never like knew if like people would be interested in doing that kind of stuff with me. Like, it's just been so much fun to have that. And I don't know, like as far as things I have planned for it, I'm still like learning, to be honest. Like, I just started it in January, so I'm still kind of like getting into the swing of, doing all the things that I said that I was going to do. So like doing an exclusive video for like the top tier and like different things like that. So I'm still getting the swing of it, but I'm really excited for the different things that I can offer on Patreon. I think it's a really cool platform.
Well, yeah, it seems like it'd be a more like, I could see how it could be like a better community because the people who go there are obviously like the people who are the most interested in you because they're paying to see what you have to offer and stuff. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's like your most like intimate group of like people.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It is nice to have that more like intimate group. That way it feels more like I can get to know them too on a personal level because we can have like more one-on-one time a lot of times. So it's really nice.
Speaking of back to movies a little bit, we weren't able to attend your no exit what was it, watch party or whatever, because we ended up watching it
Yeah, yeah.
but how did you feel about that movie?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty fun. Like, I can see why, a lot of the people who read the book were like disappointed by it. I can definitely see both sides for people that really, really loved it and really didn't like it, but I just had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was like a pretty good book to movie adaptation. I mean, to be fair, I haven't read the book since like 2017 or 2018, so it's pretty fuzzy in my memory. But I feel like, I don't know, all the changes that they made in the story, like I didn't necessarily mind too much. Like, I didn't think it ruined the story in any way for me. I don't know, I just had a really good time with it. I thought it was like a really like intense movie. Like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and that's exactly what I was expecting going in. So I thought it was a really fun movie.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where I feel like sometimes, like, like Zach would say that his favorite book is The Shining and his favorite movie is The Shining, but obviously they don't follow together. But I feel like you can't argue that The Shining like isn't a good movie, even if it doesn't follow the book. Like, it's still a really good movie, and so like I feel like No Exit kind of follows
Yeah.
from that. Like, the book is really good, the movie's really good. Yeah, they did
Yeah.
things different, but like I thought it was a really good movie, and we were like super engaged like the whole time and everything.
Yeah, I do feel like there's sometimes where like a book to movie adaptation, like I don't like putting too much stress on whether they follow the book perfectly, because I do think movies can be their own thing, like, yeah, like you said, The Shining can like stand well on its own and it doesn't necessarily have to be compared to the book exactly. But I do think The Shining is like one of those rare movies that the movie actually works better for me than the book.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, it just depends on the movie.
Right. What would you say is some of your favorite book to movie adaptations?
Oh gosh. Well, Gone Girl would definitely be up there. I know we talked about Gone Girl, but that's definitely one of my favorite book to movie adaptations just because they freaking nailed it, like on
Yeah.
point with like everything that I imagined. I also really love Little Women, especially like Greta Gerwig's recent adaptation of Little Women is one of my favorite book to movie adaptations. I mean, to be fair, I have not seen the other two Little Women movies yet. I know, shameful, but yeah, so that one's definitely one of my favorite like recent book to movie adaptations that have been made. I did enjoy the Hating Game movie adaptation. I don't think I loved it as much as I was hoping to. But I did think it was a pretty solid book to movie adaptation, and they pretty much stayed true to most of the things that I loved about the book. So I really like that one as well.
I'm such a big fan of Lucy Hale too. I watched that only because of her. I actually didn't read The Hating Game because I don't read a lot
Yeah.
of like the rom-com style books or like anything like that. But I
Yeah.
have loved her since Pretty Little Liars, and so like I was like, I'll watch it. Why not? And
Yeah.
pretty good movie. So I
Yeah,
guess
she was perfectly cast for Lucy. Like,
bouncing off of that, is there a movie you wish, which we both have the same answer. He just went to go to the bathroom. What's a movie you wish you could have read as a book? And so this is why I said, listening to your podcast today, I was like, oh my gosh, we're like the same, because one of our favorite movies of all time is Prisoners, and that would make like a kick-ass thriller.
yes.
Like it would be so good.
Yes.
And I wish that it was one.
So good.
Yeah. Is there a movie, or do you have another option?
Like a movie that I'd want to see in like a book format. What was the question?
A book that you read that you wish was a movie. No. No,
Okay.
opposite. A movie you've watched that you wish was actually a book. I'm getting confused.
Yes. Gosh, there's so many. Well, one that I recently watched, there's this new movie called Fresh on Hulu. And that one, it has Sebastian Stan, and he like kind of plays this guy that it's like about modern dating, but it ends up being like a horror movie because of things that happen to this girl. And I feel like that one would have been a really interesting book. Just because I feel like things could have gotten revealed in a little bit of a different way in book format as opposed to like, movie format. But I feel like that one would have actually made for a really cool book.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any like hidden gem movies that not a lot of people talk about? It could be any genre. I have one that's kind of in the thriller genre that I can talk about if you have some after.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard of Bad Samaritan, I don't know who, like you guys knew all the directors and stuff. I don't know who the director is for that one.
Oh,
But I've never heard anyone talk about it. But for Zach's family, like once a month we get together and have like a pizza night and like a movie night, and we watch like a thriller or horror movie. And we randomly chose this movie to watch once, and it was really good. I'm trying to find the like movie poster that I could show you. I don't even remember the guy's name.
I think I've heard of it. It sounds familiar.
It stars David Tennant, if that's how you say his name. I'm not as into like. Here we go. That's what it's probably.
Oh yeah.
It's really good, and I recommend it if you haven't seen it. But we both would probably say that movie for a hidden gem. So, do you have any?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking there's this movie called I See You that's we watched it on Amazon Prime, but it came out in 2019, I believe. And that was one that I had never heard of before. I just randomly decided to watch it because it kept popping up on a bunch of different letterboxd lists that I was interested in that were like movies that are like hidden gems or like shocking movies that nobody talks about. And it's like this thriller movie that was just so good. Like it was so twisty and like so interesting, and it has like yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like it's kind of creepy too. Like it has like some elements to it that feel kind of like horror, but it's mostly like a thriller kind of story. But that one's really interesting, and I don't know why nobody talks about that movie. I thought it was so good.
I've never heard of it before. You said it's on Hulu? No, you said a different one was on.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I have to write that down.
Yeah, I think it's free to watch on Amazon Prime. Yeah. Yeah, that one's really interesting. It's wild.
Nice. Well, I guess to round things out, someone else asked, what are your like future plans for the podcast? Is there anything like more you guys want to do based on the podcast or anything like that?
Yeah, we're still, figuring out like how we want our episodes to be. We're trying to figure out if we want to do more like, because we're going to be a weekly podcast, so we're going to be uploading on every Tuesday, like once a week. And so we're just trying to figure out if we want to do, episodes that are dedicated to like movie and TV show reviews, or if we want to do more like list type of episodes, because we do really like the idea of doing list kind of episodes. So like having just an episode being like, here's our all-time favorite horror movies, and just have like a list, or like, you know, here are top 5 movies that are, you know, on Netflix recently or something like that, you know, because I feel like list episodes can be more fun and a little bit more like interactive, because then you don't have to see the movie or TV show that we're talking about in order to listen to the episode. Right. Whereas like I feel like sometimes an episode that's dedicated just to one movie or one TV show, people feel like they need to have seen that in order to listen to it, or like have an opinion on it. But I think because we're uploading weekly, I think the idea so far is that we would like to do kind of a mix of different episodes like that. So like maybe once a month we'll like review a TV show, once a month we'll review a movie, and then the other 2 episodes might be like list kind of episodes. So we're still kind of playing with the idea of that, but for now that's kind of the idea and concept that we're going for, but we're just gonna kind of see how it goes. And we've already gotten some really good ideas from people that have been watching on my YouTube channel that are, you know, they know about the movie podcast and they have these recommendations for different things like in episodes that they would like to see. So I've already been getting some good ideas from them. Nice. But yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes.
Nice. Do you guys usually have the same opinions on movies or TV shows? Or is there any you can think of where you guys are like totally opposite?
Because we have a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, for the most part, we do have similar tastes, but there's a number of movies that we have different opinions on. Like, Rachel's definitely more of a DC fan than I am, and I'm definitely more of a Marvel fan. So we tend to have some disagreements about those movies. Yeah. But for the most part, we do have really similar tastes, which makes it fun because we can fangirl over the same things for the most part.
That's
awesome. Just based off like the Marvel DC thing, there are like 3 DC movies that I'll like for sure watch over and over, and that's Watchmen, The Dark Knight, and the Snyder cut of Justice League. Those 3 I'll like make exceptions for. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously I'll watch if there's like you know, a different Justice League movie in the future, but otherwise as long as, who's the guy who did the other one? Wheaton, whatever his name is, he did a terrible job.
Mm-hmm.
Our dream is to have like we need to. So like, you guys need to have, and we need to have the like full on DC Marvel universes like clashing together in one big movie. Like that would make so much money. Like I wish they would do it, but a lot of the people I'd want in it are like Robert Downey Jr., who's like done being Iron Man, and like
all the people who are out.
But I think that's all we have from our questionnaire here. So one more time, do you want to tell people where they can find you, including the podcast?
So the podcast is called Film Queens, and it should be available on most podcast listening platforms. My YouTube channel is Gabby Reads, and then my Instagram is @_myfictionalworld. And that is where I'm at.
So don't forget to rate and review their podcast over on Apple and Spotify. And don't forget to rate and review our podcast over on Apple and Spotify. And you can find us at Books and Stuff Podcast on Instagram. And then obviously Zach's YouTube channel, which is
Zach's Books.
So I think that's all we have for you this week. Thank you, Gabby, for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
All right.
Thank you for being here. It's a fun time.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.